Welcome back to Madam Cross New Horizons. I'm dear darling. Should we see what's going on a lovely island of Fawnhollow today in a whole new year of 2022? So I hope you all had a lovely New Year's, or at least a passable one at the very best. And I know obviously the situations around things are kind of difficult, especially for a lot of people nowadays. But here we are, welcoming in the new year, where hopefully fresh start, whole new stuff for us to do. Probably, possibly. I don't really know. Who knows what future holds in store? Not I say. But yeah, I'm not really sure what to talk about, because it feels a bit strange, the fact that it's sort of like after the fact, and you know, there's not really much celebration that happens on the 1st of January. Kind of all of it happens on the 31st and through to the New Year itself. But we'll just see what happens. Happy New Year to all of you. I can't wait to see what this year brings. Right now in Fawnhollow, it's 3:23 PM on Saturday, January 1st, 2022. I almost forgot. The weather report says we're in for shooting stars. Lovely. I can't remember if we got the Capricorn fragment or not, but yeah. So I had a lovely time. Just like our family went to visit another family friends, and we just like celebrated together. Just a few of us, not all that many. And it was a lovely time. I forgot we were wearing all this Happy New Year stuff. Get rid of this party popper. Get rid of all this useless garbage. Obviously not useless, but something for Mum. My dear, as I greet the new year, I decided to become one of the fancy hobby people. If my creativity were a flower, it would be in full bloom. Aw, thanks, Mum. In-game mother. But yeah, Mum's art. I don't, have we got this before? Is this something that we can donate to the museum? And I can't imagine the museum is particularly that interested in taking it, but seeing as we're the sole benefactor of the museum, perhaps we can sort of bend Blabber's arm a little bit in our favour to get us up and displayed. But no, it's gonna change back to our usual clothes, and we're just sort of gonna vibe. It's Saturday, of course, so Keke Slider is here. No, but a thing that was interesting is I finally learned how to play one of the Chinese card games, I suppose, that my parents always used to play together in like these family friend gatherings and that sort of thing. Oh, a New Year's greeting. Happy New Year. We're sorry that Nookstop was unavailable all day yesterday due to resident service holiday closure. To make up for that, we're giving away customers who access a Nookstop today 500 miles. Also, regardless, will be set at 7+ days tomorrow. Cool. Not really a big deal for us because we have enough Nook miles already to do things, but yeah, I finally learned how to play one of the Chinese card games that we play, and I suppose it got me thinking. There's a lot of like card games out there in all different cultures. I wonder, like, you know, what card games are like and what popular card games are in different other countries. Like, you know, have a trip down to Hungary. What's their favourite card games to play while like drinking or celebrating, that sort of thing. Because a lot of the card games you think about, you're like, oh, you know, like poker, blackjack. It's not really, well, at least us personally, me and my friend group, we don't really play those all that often. And I'm trying to think what card game we've probably played the most. I can't really think of one. But anyway, I learned how to play this Chinese card game called Zhao Peng You, which means finding friends, essentially, or looking for friends. And it's actually quite interesting. There's quite a lot of different layers to the game. And I guess I'll sort of try and teach you how to play it in this video. It's not going to be a concise explanation or a particularly good one. You might rather search it on the internet for better explanations. I'm just going to sort of talk about my own opinions on it. It's also kind of like called like Sheng or something. I don't know what tones are on that, to be honest, meaning like upgrade. But I like the Zhao Peng You name better because finding friends sounds cute. It's Saturday, so we'll buy one of these, and tomorrow we'll see if it gets replaced with something which is usable. But oh yeah, Red actually gave us one. That was usable yesterday. No, but essentially, Zhao Peng You is a trick game, kind of like Hearts, I'd say. I'm not like an expert in Hearts, so I don't know how true that is, but it's got similarities where basically the aim of the game is to upgrade your rank, quote quote, to whatever you set the maximum level to be. And that sounds a little bit vague, and that's because it is kind of a bit vague, but there's a lot of interlocking systems which go in to Zhao Peng You, so it's kind of difficult to explain. But basically, I'm going to explain this kind of out of order, so it's going to be difficult to follow along, but hopefully once you get all the pieces, the piece will get together. One thing to know is, in this game, at least in this variant we played, is aces are high, and usually, apparently, from what I can see on the internet, most people play aces high, 2s are low. What we had aces high, 3s are low, and 2 is a trump card, which we'll see later on. But essentially, the aim of the game is to either accrue as many points as possible, or stop the other team accruing as many points as possible. You have to play with an even number of players. Presumably, I guess you could do it with an odd number. That sounds kind of difficult, but yeah, it's to accrue as many points as possible. The only way to earn points is by winning tricks. And tricks basically being like each person plays down a card in turn, and once everyone plays down a card, whoever's got the highest valid value card in that trick wins. The only way to earn points is by winning tricks, and the tricks themselves containing the cards the 5, the 10, or the kings, like any suit, but only those ones. The 5s are worth 5 points, and the 10s and kings are worth 10 points each. Okay, so that's how you earn points. And the ultimate goal is there'll be 2 teams. Actually, there's going to be the dealers team, and there's going to be the non-dealers team. I can't remember what the non-dealers team is, but perhaps it's better to think of them as the dealers team, i.e. the defenders, and the attackers. And the ultimate goal for the attackers team is to get 80 points or more, and the ultimate goal for the defenders team or the dealers team is to stop the enemy team from getting 80 points. Because if the attacking team gets more than 80 points, they become the dealer team, or one of their members becomes the dealers for next round, which is good because the only way to increase your rank, which I mentioned is the ultimate goal of the entire game, is by preventing the other team from reaching 80 points as the dealing team. So you got that. But how the ranks go up is they go up through the order of the cards. You start in our version, you start at 3, and you go 3, 4 all the way up to Jack, 10, Jack, Queen, King, and then you want to get to Ace, and when you reach Ace, you win. But most commonly it seems to be that you start at 2 and you go up to Ace. So these games actually take a huge amount of time. Like I didn't actually play at all. I just kind of watched them and went off to do other things. And they only reached up to like rank 7 or something. So the only way to increase your rank is you have to stop the attacking team getting 80 points while you're on the dealer/defender team. The other way, apparently, you can get points is if you're on that attacking team, and if you get more than 120 points in total, then you will get, you will not only become the attacking team next round, you will get an increase in rank, which is like, whoa, that's great. You might also have done the maths by now and be like, isn't it kind of impossible to get 120 points currently? Because that will mean you would have to get every single point in the game and more. Well, see, that's the interesting thing about Zhao Peng You is played on multiple decks, and most commonly you play with 2 full decks, including both jokers. So that's interesting right there in its own right, I suppose. But it's not even the most interesting part of the game yet. Okay, so now I guess we need to explain what trumps are in this game. So basically, I'm not going to explain how it's done quite yet. At the beginning of each round, not trick, round, there will be one person who is the dealer. That's fair enough, that's kind of standard in most games. And there will be one card which is designated the trump card. For our examples, from now on, we're going to say it's the 7 of spades. And what this trump card does is it basically transforms all the cards which have 7s on and which have spades, and they smush them all together into one suit of their own called the trump suit, which is basically a higher value suit than the other suits. So you have 4 suits at any one time in a round. In this particular case, we have the hearts through ace to king except the number 7, the diamonds through ace to king except through from 2 to ace except for number 7, and the clubs from 2 to ace except for number 7. And you have the trump deck, which is made of every single spade, all the 7s, the 2 black and white jokers, otherwise known as little jokers, and the 2 coloured jokers, otherwise known as big jokers. That is the trump deck, and that deck has a higher value than the other 3 decks. Okay, and the ordering of the value of the cards goes, using the trump deck as an example, because that's kind of only the complicated one, it goes the coloured joker, or big joker, the black and white joker, or little joker, and then it's followed up by the trump number. Right? Yeah, the trump number. Oh no, the trump card and suit. So in our case, the 7 of spades. And then it's followed up by all the other 7s, so the 7 clubs, 7 diamonds, and 7 hearts. They're all equal value. And then it's followed up by every single card in the trump suit aka spades in this case, in order from 2, ace, king, queen, all the way down to 3 at the lowest. And also noting that noting that 2 trumps everything and aces are high, I suppose, and also that we're skipping over whatever the trump value card is. Okay. A similar thing applies to the other decks, you know. 2s are high, then aces, and then the rest of the deck in order, as you'd expect. Okay, so that's how the value of the cards go. So how play goes is at the start of every trick, the dealer, if it's the first trick, or whoever won the previous trick, puts down either 1 card or 2 cards. We'll get onto the 2 cards in a second, but if they put down 1 card, basically everyone else for the rest of that trick has to match the suit that they put down. So if they put down a 5 of diamonds or something, everyone else has to put down a diamond. The exception is, there's 2 exceptions. One, you can put down a trump card on top of it, even if you have a diamond. You're not forced to put down a diamond. You have to put that card down or something higher. So you can put down a 5 of diamonds. Wait a second. Why is this... Is this meant to be a different flower? I don't know. I feel like there's a flower missing there. No, I'm not really sure why, but I suppose when we get a duplicate at some point, like there's 1 flower, we'll just put it over there. And the other exception is if you don't have any diamonds, and you can put down whatever you want, essentially. But no asterisk there. You can put down whatever you want, but you can no longer win the hand because your card is no longer valid. You're now just basically discarding something. Okay. And also another important thing to note is if someone puts down any trump card, so say they put down the 3 of spades, you are forced to put down a trump card as well. So that leads to the situations where if they put down a 3 of spades and you might not have any spades in your hands, but you only have jokers, you are forced to put down that joker. Even though it's not a spade, remember the spades are part of a trump suit now, but not part of a spade suit anymore. In our specific example, where 7 of spades is the trump card. Okay. Nice. So yeah, then play goes round. Every person puts down a card, and then whoever has the highest value in all of that wins the trick. And basically, you kind of just discard all the cards except for the point cards. And if you're on the dealer team, then you can discard all the cards because points don't matter to you. It's only if you're on the defenders team, but sorry, the attacking team, that the points actually matter, and so you actually keep them. Okay, and that's done. Okay, double tricks. So what you can also do to start off a trick is you can put down 2 of exactly the same card. Now I don't mean exactly as in the same value, so you can't put down like a 7 of diamonds and 7 of clubs together. No, I mean you have to put down 2 7s of clubs or 2 whatever or whatevers, you know, remembering the fact that you are playing with multiple decks, and 2 decks mostly of the time, so it's actually possible. And then when that happens, everyone else has to put down doubles for it to be a valid pair, you know. So if someone puts down a 5 of diamonds, 2 5s of diamonds or something, everyone else now has to follow up with doubles of either the diamond suit or the trump suit. And yes, those trumps have to be exactly identical matching as well. So obviously that's a very strong play in that sort of aspect. If you put down a double, you're just like, hey, everyone else is forced to put down doubles. The only things which can beat it up will be doubles in that suit or doubles in trumps. So a lot of the time it's not possible. Because a lot of time people put down like doubles of strong trumps. So yeah, that's just how it is, to be honest. And it's quite a difficult thing but to deal with, but it's also a very strong power move at the same time, I suppose. But so if you don't have a pair of that matching suit, you have to just put down any cards you have of that matching suit. If you don't have any cards of that suit, you can put down whatever you want. It doesn't matter at that point. Okay, so that's double tricks. There's also, apparently, from what I can see from reading online, there's also an additional rule where you can put down consecutive doubles. So if you have, for example, in our example, if you had both 5 and consecutive doubles of matching suits, remembering that the trump suit is its own individual suit, so you can put down a pair of 5 of diamonds and a pair of 4 of diamonds and a pair of 3 of diamonds if you somehow manage to have all of them in your hand. Obviously, and now everyone else has to match with you. Everyone else has to create similar runs of doubles, which basically just means they have to discard 6 cards because it's very unlikely that they'll have that insane sort of hand. Asterisk here for the trump things. It's probably better to go on Wikipedia to read the rules about it exactly. But remember, the trumps have their own specific order, which go coloured joker, black and white joker, trump card, e.g. 7 of spades, trump value, i.e. all the other 7s, which are all equal to each other, but they are not identical. No, not identical. So you cannot put down, in our example, you cannot put down a 7 of clubs and a 7 of hearts and treat them as the same card. They're the same value, but they're not identical. Anyway, after that, then it's all the trump things in order. So then you can put consecutive things down. So you can put down like 9 of spades, 8 of spades, or you can put things down like coloured jokers, black and white joker, and then what comes after that? The 2 7 of spades in our specific example. But then you know there's like other edge cases where it's like you can't put down double 8 of spades and double 6 of spades at the same time, because you know double 7 of spades has been taken out of order. Remember, because it's been upgraded to a trump card. So just bear that in mind. It's quite complicated, but those sort of situations are so rare that they probably don't come up. Okay, those are tricks. Whew, done. Okay, now you might be asking, okay, but how do we actually like make teams? You've never explained that part. This is what I think is by far and away the most interesting thing about this game, is you play this game and every single round you play, not trick, round, you don't know who your friends are. You don't know who's on your team until later. So how teams are decided is at the dealer at the start of every round will be like, the people I want on my team are going to be the first person to play the ace of hearts and the first person to play the ace of clubs, which means that whoever places down the ace of hearts first will join their team. And remember, there's 2 ace of hearts in each deck, so 2 people will probably have an ace of hearts. And therein lies the game. You have to basically decide, when are you going to place down this card? And when you place it down, you're basically saying, yes, I am committing to joining your team. So it's sort of like a judgment scenario. You look at the dealer, you see how they're playing, you see how many points they've denied, how many points other people have accrued. And you know, if the dealer's denied a load of points, like halfway through the match, no points are basically beginning out. You're basically itching for that opportunity to place down that ace of hearts that's in your hand, because you're like, I want to join the dealer's team because they've denied so many points. I think the dealer team's going to win. But also, bear in mind, because you're playing with double decks, there are 2 ace of hearts, so you got to weigh it up against the fact that you have to decide faster than the other person, because if you wait too long, if too many points are being denied, they might put their ace of hearts down first, and they'll be like, okay, I'm committing to the team instead, and now you're forced to be on the other team, who is in potentially a worse position. So yeah, if you start with ace of hearts, you gotta basically be able to play both sides. You gotta play being like, if you got a strong hand and you feel like the dealer's got a strong hand, you can be like, okay, I'm gonna play ace of hearts really early on. I'm gonna establish I'm your teammate. I've got a strong hand. Let's work together and we'll utterly destroy things, stuff like that. And I'm like, that's such an interesting mechanic. And it also leads into a thing that if you don't have either ace in your hand, you know from the beginning, you know, I cannot join the dealer's team, so I am going to try and accrue as many points as possible and screw over the dealer as much as I can. And I'm like, that is such a cool mechanic for a game, that you discover who your teammates are along the way. I'm like, this should be like a basis for a whole other card game, like in of itself. It's such an interesting concept, I think, and I find it incredibly cool. Okay, sell fruit, DIY and catch fish. Can do. Yeah, so have I explained everything? I think I've probably explained everything now of how to play the game. Oh no, how do you decide a trump? Okay, so the dealer at the start of every round, their rank in the current game will be the value for that trump. So, for example, if you're playing a game and your dealer is at rank, has their rank of 4, that means the 4s in this game are going to be the trumps. We don't know which suit yet is going to be the trump suit, but we just know that every 4 is going to be a thing. And then what happens is, as you distribute cards, as you deal out cards, you basically have them in a pile of the middle. The dealer takes first, and then you go counterclockwise, or anti-clockwise, I suppose. I mean, the same thing, around your table, everyone picking up a card. And at any point, if you get a 4, you can place down that 4, and be like, I'm declaring this as a trump card, the trump suit. So if you like, oh, we should have done 7s. Oh, well, it doesn't matter. So if 4 is going to be the trump value for this round of play, and you draw a 4 clubs, you can place that down and be like, I'm declaring 4 clubs as the trump card for this round, and that's just what it will be. With the exception of if someone comes along and they can put down a pair of identical 4s, they can override your trump. So if you put that down, then later on when you're dealing out cards, someone else has a pair of 4 of hearts, and they put that down. They go, you're overwritten. 4 of hearts is now the trump suit. Is how it goes. Which is also, I think, very interesting, because it's sort of like a dynamic. Because of course everyone gets a card one at a time with a dealer going first. You got to basically make a judgment call. If you get a draw of 4 early, you could just like slam that down and be like, hey, okay, I want 4 clubs. But what if you draw no more clubs? Suddenly your hand is now, you basically given everyone else a stronger hand for no apparent reason. So it's sort of like you basically wait out the situation. You be like, oh, you're drawing hearts. It's like, oh, I got the ace of hearts or 2 of hearts, and I just drew the 4 of hearts. Maybe that's strong enough, because now that's 2 trumps. That's now 2 very high value cards in the trump suit. I'm going to put down the 4 of hearts and be like, I'm declaring this as a trump card because my hand is looking good for hearts. And there's also that interesting thing with a declaration of a dealer as well, that they can also look at their ones and being like, okay, I've got like, and I'm not exactly sure how the strategy goes, but they can strategically choose which cards that they announce, because they can technically announce any card at the start of the game, being like, I want whoever places like the 3 of diamonds to be my teammate, etc, etc, etc. But as I understand it, you kind of want to always say the ace of something, because for one, you cannot say any trump card. You cannot be the first person to say put down the joker or whatever. It will be my teammate. It has to be a non-trump card, but you want to put a higher card as possible, because that means you're basically saying I want my teammate with a strong value card. Is what you want to do. So that's what's going on. Another rule, the dealer also gets 6 bonus cards to draw at the beginning of a game. So basically you deal around to everyone until there's like 6, until basically the remainder cards are left on the table. The dealer picks them all up and then discards an equal number of those cards from their hand. And those cards that they discard will not be in play for the game. And you might say, if you're thinking strategy already, hey, since the dealer wants to deny points, what if they just put all their point cards down in that hand? See, that's the interesting part. Any cards that they discard and put down in that deck will be won by the team who wins the last trick. So you might put all your point cards down in that thing, but if the attacking team suddenly wins that last trick, they might find themselves 60 points up, just randomly at the end. Also, I've seen some things where sometimes that final, that like mulligan pile is worth like double points. I don't know if that's what my family friends played with, but I suppose you can incorporate that if you want. So it's kind of a risk. You want to get rid of the points, because as a dealer you want as few point cards in your hand as possible, because obviously you don't want to risk giving them out to the opposition. But if you discard too many and the opposition end up winning those cards, you've given them 3 points. you give them points just like that, and they didn't even have to work for it. So it's interesting. That's why I thought Zhao Peng You is a really interesting game, because it's got so many interesting dynamics and strategies, like all laid on top of each other. Also incredibly confusing. I would wager, probably from a game design perspective, I think there's a few too many mechanics in this game. The trump card could have easily just been like a flip over a random card sort of thing, but that's neither here nor there. We need to make stuff. Yes, we need to make coconuts. And I think that's sort of a general premise of the game. I think I've explained everything. But yeah, it's incredibly complicated. There's so many layers, like upon layers of strategy that you had to have and know about to play the game, and there's so many sort of like mind games. I just really love the part about you basically being in control and sort of deciding, hey, should I join the team or should I not join the team? And basically sort of playing chicken. We're trying to see when's the best opportunity to. But sometimes you'll be forced to join the team. Like what if the dealer calls out, hey, I want whoever plays the first ace of hearts to join my team, and the dealer is having a terrible time. You're like, I don't really want to join that team. But if you only have the ace of hearts in your hand and no other hearts, if anyone else places down a heart, you're forced to join that failing team. So you know you got to think ahead. You got to be like, okay, you know, if I only have a few hearts, I got to make sure they count and try and force the other player who's got the ace of hearts to play their ace of hearts first, or whatever, lest I be forced to join a losing team. It's like there's so many interesting things which go on in that game. it's so darn complicated. Anyway, if you want to look it up, it's called Zhao Peng You, or also known as Sheng. Not like that, that's frozen chicken, the way I said, but I don't know. Hold on. Let's see what the tones are in Sheng. Sheng space Ji. If you want to Wikipedia it. Zhao Peng You is spelled ZHAO space PENGYOU. Okay, which Sheng is it? Sheng, I guess. Or also known as Dai Bai Fen, or 40分, or 80分, or 拖拉机, or 双口, or 双生, or 交朋友. It's crazy. It's really interesting. I don't know if there's anything else I forgot to say. Yeah, there's combinations of multiple cards. Oh yeah, the scoring is actually different from how we done it. That the declarers get more points if like fewer scorers think. I don't know. There's so many like house rules. There's so many variations. You can kind of incorporate whatever you want to that sort of game, and you'll find your own sort of benefits of playing it. I'd recommend you definitely maybe giving it a shot if you like those sort of games. I'm not really sure if it's something I want to play. I might try and teach it to my friends at some point because it might sound fun to play, but it's also very complicated at the same time. But yeah, again, they also learn how to play mahjong, so really I shouldn't underestimate my friends in the slightest. They're very capable when it comes to this sort of thing. Yeah, I suppose that was sort of my foray into learning about how to play some of these Chinese card games. There's another very popular Chinese card game, sort of like Fight the Landlord or something. I can't remember what it's called. So something against the landlord, which I don't know how to play, but maybe I'll get my parents to teach me at some point. It would be very interesting. So there you go. There's Zhao Peng You. Look it up, Sheng. It's a cool game, and that's how you play it. And I suppose that will round off this episode here. So if you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've been Dear Darling. Likes, comments, subscription, shares are greatly appreciated. Join me Dear Darling Discord. Follow me on Twitter down below. Hope we can see each other again. But for now, it's our farewell. So until next time, bye-bye for now. Where did Phoebe go?